Okay, welcome back all. I wanted to get this out before it becomes too old, because this literally just happened this week. This is a continuation to the previous video. We captured something in the sky. Going back a few weeks, I noticed something in the sky in the same spot when going the same direction. The second time I noticed it, Danielle was with me. The third time, I saw it and just started taping and I thought it was gone, but then it came back. So this is the video that I got. I was recording while I was driving and I was able to zoom in later on the spot. And I did catch some of the activity that I saw up there. For anyone new to the channel, I've had a few questions recently and a few people that were confused or basically thought that I was showing other people's videos, and basically everything on this channel is 100% original content, and that does not include when we do a research video. I'll use a lot of sources and try to cite the sources when I can, but otherwise all the explorations, footage, a lot of the pictures is all, our content, and that's us out there, seeing these things or walking, whatever it might be. If you see other people on the channel, those are friends of mine that we were collaborating, sharing some videos. Otherwise, everything you see is part of this channel. Here's some better views of the previous footage. Tried to get a little closer in on the zooms and slow it down and try to focus on different objects. So I also noticed this strange, seems to be like a gap in the clouds, or a hole in the clouds, let's say. The next day, so this was on the 28th and the 29th that I saw the spot, and here's the side-by-side comparison. I mean, it's not 100%, but it's very close, and it's in the same exact area. So that big hole in the sky is in the same spot, getting off that same exit I pulled off the other day, right? There's that big gap in the clouds again, like a circle. So I thought about it. What does it look like from above, basically? And is it able to be captured on satellite, live satellite radar imagery, something you'd see on AccuWeather or one of the many weather sites? Because I remember looking into these kind of effects, anomalies, back in 2012 when people first started noticing these patterns. So I thought of them right away and went and checked. And this is the following day. Actually, this was on New Year's Eve day that I recorded this. I figured there's, some clouds in the sky, maybe that hole is there again, and maybe I can see it from satellite. So sure enough, we go and look, and there is this giant hole in the sky in the same exact spot. And not only and it's over BNL, so that's a remarkable thing right there. BNL, Brookhaven National Lab, has the second to CERN, one of the most powerful particle accelerators that has led to so many groundbreaking research, Nobel Prizes. They're creating small black holes there, they're colliding atoms. They also did research there to ultimately release the discovery of the Higgs boson particle. So this was over the particle accelerator and the very center of BNL. And there's this beam that cuts through the clouds, and it heads to upstate New York. And when I say beam, I mean this is like a swath of clouds that have been cut away, kind of like a highway cut through the clouds, and it's heading to some location upstate New York, which we will go and look at, of course. But for now, we're just marveling at this strange part of the sky that no weather can seem to affect. For example, the clouds blow across the cut in the sky, and they just seem to go around it or just be dissipated right away, like disintegrated, and not exist in that area. Same thing at the end. You can see where over BNL, where there's like this hole in the sky or a circle in the clouds, you can see the weather is blowing forcefully, the wind, and it's just going right around that spot or just ceasing to exist within it. So another strange thing is, if you go through the timeline, at some point this disappears. When this just ceases to be or dissipates or shuts off, when the beam is gone, it's still cut in the clouds, but now the wind has taken it away, and this cut in the clouds that was left from the beam that was once in that spot has turned off, and it's blowing away, and you can see it drift across over Connecticut, the eastern side of Long Island, and head towards Massachusetts, where it dissipates finally and breaks apart near Springfield, Massachusetts. Okay, so this proves that it's not just an anomaly of technology on the screen, because if it were, it wouldn't drift away with the clouds. I mean, the clouds literally blow this away, and you're thinking, wouldn't the clouds fill in the gap as they're blowing? But no, because the air is just pushing it all simultaneously, so this slice in the sky that was left there probably looks like a highway through the sky if you're on the ground looking up. Maybe some of you actually saw this when it was happening, or have noticed this big blazing trail of nothing, no clouds, just blue sky. If you've seen anything like that, let me know. I'm very interested. So anyway, this cut that was made in the clouds kind of just drifted away in position and slowly blended together, but it stayed pretty much in the same shape that it was cut in. So long story short, what could do this? What would invert the weather? So I looked into weather anomalies and people trying to explain this away on AccuWeather and other sites, people discussing it everywhere from Stack Exchange to Reddit to anything where people talk about topics. And some of the experts have called this tropospheric ducting, which makes sense in a way. And I know the troposphere is used to, scatter information. Sometimes we communicate by bouncing things off it. And for those of you familiar with HAARP, weather control, they were heating up the ionosphere. So both of those don't really seem to make and if it is ducting, why did it blow away in the wind? What is cutting away the water vapor in the clouds? Okay, when we follow this beam to its source, we end up somewhere near a town named Walden, upstate New York. It's got a population of 6,000. Nothing significant there that I can see. Danielle's first thought was, is there a military base nearby? Of course, a very good thought and a likely thought. But there didn't seem to be one in Walden. The only thing I found was a company named Spence Engineering served the district's steam heating loops in the Northeast, especially Con Ed in New York City. So this is major because they're basically engineering all of the steam tunnels. I mean, in the Northeast, including New York City, that's, we're talking subways, gas lines, everything with steam tunnels, steam heating loops. I mean, it sounds pretty huge and intense, and it's all underground, so that's very interesting. Danielle mentioned that this was most likely going to some military base, and I agreed, but I couldn't think of one in the area, so I turned on Google Satellite View and looked around, and sure enough, there's a giant airport there. It's called Stewart International Airport. It serves as the modern headquarters for all police choppers, the Air National Guard, everything from postal airplanes, private. It's a major airport. And the interesting thing is that I didn't realize at first that this is Stewart Air Force Base, the former Stewart Air Force Base, which has been mentioned and tied into some Camp Hero stories in Montauk lore. Not only that, as like a sister project to Montauk. And this was on like blogs and other places. I don't think it's actually mentioned in the book series. I don't think it's in there, but I know it's part of the Montauk lore in several places. Now I can dig into that and find those sources if you guys are interested. Also, it's very, very involved in the whole Hudson Valley flap, the whole Hudson Valley sightings, UFO sightings from 1983 to 1988, 89. Maybe it's 81 to 89, but it's almost the whole decade centered around the Hudson Valley. And the interesting thing is, this airport is mentioned several times. People suspected this airport for having a UFO, for having underground facilities, a deep base. Also, if you look at all the sightings that were documented in the Hudson Valley, they're in towns really close to this airport. We can dig into more of the Hudson Valley sightings if you guys are interested in hearing about some of those. I'm fascinated that this place is tied to BNL. So Daniel had another theory. What if there's a massive underground tunnel connecting this former Air Force Base, major airport today, to, one of the top, if not the top, scientific lab we have in the country, which has a massive underground and two particle accelerators. The major particle accelerator is called the Relativistic Heavy Ion Collider, and that's RHIC. The interesting thing about the underground tunnel theory makes me think of two things right away. Okay, on one end you have somebody who's in charge of building the steam loops and the steam tunnels for the entire Northeast, including New York City. So, and a major Air Force base with flight capabilities. And on the other end of this beam or connection between these two places, you have BNL, which is Brookhaven National Labs. If there is an underground tunnel, it would obviously be something that has a very high-speed train, maglev. Okay, so a magnetic levitation train. The funny thing about maglev, if you look at who invented it and where it was invented at BNL in 1968. Of course, Japan built the first one. They built it like within a year, I think, or two, and they had that running. But nobody knows if BNL didn't build one as they were discovering it. I mean, right shortly after they discovered it, especially if it's underground, it's not going to be mentioned. But what if the neodymium that hold, the reverse polarity neodymium magnets that push this train along the entire way? Neodymium is known as a conductor and a magnet, so it's an electromagnetic force. So what if all those magnets, if there is a maglev train under there, what if they're reflecting the opposite magnetic signal at the same distance in the sky? And just the electromagnetic effect that nobody was aware of is causing this to cut through the clouds in this way when the train runs. Maybe it runs like for 2 hours a day or something, and in that time you can see it in the sky. Wouldn't that be so ironic if the very thing that they try with everything to hide is actually through a natural occurrence, by chance and irony, that this is showing the mapping of all the secret tunnels are right there, mapped in the sky. Just another thought. We really don't know what this could be. We're just taking guesses, trying to think about it a lot, and I'm not going to think about it too much. We have a lot of other stuff we want to cover, but we definitely wanted to show you this radar footage. Last but not least, Daniel had a great point as well about why we would see lights in the sky. If you were able to see this from space, this interesting, a straight line connection between two locations of importance with an empty space in the sky that weather cannot touch or enter on both sides of this line, this connection in the sky. If you saw that cutaway in the sky and you were above the earth looking down, you would fly down there to check it out. If you saw this from space, you would be like, what are these humans doing now? Let's just say you're in a UFO. Wouldn't you be interested to go and check that out? Maybe that's why these things are appearing in the hole. So that was a pretty good thought, I thought. I like that idea, but if you guys have, I'd like to hear your ideas. If you have crazy ideas or you want to take a stab at debunking it, I'm open to everything, and just trying to figure out what's going on here. But due to the sensitivity and nature of this topic, I'm only going to, I won't go too much into it. Okay, thanks for watching. We have a lot more to come. We're going to try to take a closer look at some of the recent things we caught, because there were so many of them. And we have some new stuff we are looking forward to showing you guys and testing in the field. We appreciate all of you. Thank you for watching, and please let us know what you think.